All right, folks. Hello and welcome back to the BGE Cloud. You are joining me and my special guest, Miss Roxanne Alexander, for another episode of The Plus in Pageantry. Miss Roxanne, how are you doing today?
I am so good. How are you?
Oh, living the dream. Just living the dream. Disclaimer, I have two rowdy dogs in the back, so if you hear anything fall or anything like that, it's just them having a good time outside of my recording room. They're fine. I promise, they're fine.
That's okay. I'm a dog mom too, so I understand your pain. I left mine at their dad's house right now so that he could watch
Nice.
them. And then a little while ago, I got a video. It was like, I made a reel, and it's the song Area Codes, and it's my Dalmatian, my
Yeah.
service dog in training, to that song, Area Codes, just like eating out of his bowl and with shopping bags. And I'm like, oh my gosh,
Oh my
please stop
goodness.
making reels.
Your dog's gonna be famous.
Maybe.
um,
I hope for the right reasons.
so, folks, I had the pleasure of meeting Miss Roxanne at the USOA Arizona State Pageant, where I was helping. And Roxanne, I have to tell you, I loved your dress at State, and I quite enjoyed meeting you, hence why we're here today. Can you tell us a little bit about why you chose to compete at the state pageant? What drew you in?
Yeah, so I moved from Mississippi to Arizona, and I've been out here going on 9 years now. And when I first moved out here, I met friends in college, but they all moved away and went back to California to be more closer to family and start lives there. And since then, I kind of struggled with making friends, and I had some friends, but we are all on different paths. So I was like, I really want to make friends. And a girl I know who has competed in pageants her whole life, she was like, you should do a pageant. You'll make a lot of cool friends. Like, I have some of my best friends from pageants. So I said, let me think about it. And then she just kept like telling me how much of a good experience she had, how much she loved it, and how she truly found her best friends. So I said, okay, I'm going to do this. I want to meet people. I want to make friends. Like, it can't be that bad.
Yeah, I mean, honestly, I've met so many amazing people, including yourself, as we'll get into in this interview a little bit. But I've met so many amazing people and had so many opportunities thrown at me through pageantry. My best friend in the entire world, I met at a national pageant. I was an appointed title, and it was the first national pageant I ever was at. And I walked up to her in the lobby, and we just started talking. And before the end of the
Aww.
week, she was like, "You're going to be in my wedding," and I was like, "Oh my god, you're going to be in my wedding!" And that was just kind of like our stepbrother scene. Like, did we just become best friends? Yep, So I
That's so
support
awesome.
that. I support that wholeheartedly. So, from Mississippi, what part of Mississippi are you originally from?
Collinsville, it is a very small town. I think I had 120 people total graduating in my high school class. Like, we're tiny. So,
Yeah.
very rural, not much to do. I would spend a summer here and there with my aunt and uncle in Arizona as a kid, and I fell in love with the big city, with the desert, how cool it was. And I was like, I'm going to go to Arizona one day. And my grandpa passed away, and my aunt and uncle came to Mississippi. And I had my aunt and uncle sit down with me and my parents to convince my parents to let me go to Arizona for college,
Oh my goodness.
which was very interesting. And my parents agreed. So we ended up packing up my car that June, and me and my grandma drove out to Arizona. And it was quite the trip, 27 hours out. I got to my aunt and uncle's house. I started unpacking, and I called my dad and I was like, I just moved to Satan's house. Like, it's so hot here. I was
Oh,
like, I forgot what the summers were like. He was like, well, you're there. You got to stick it out. And I was like, oh no. But I fell in love with it even more once living out here. And there's something different to do always.
mhm.
So here I am, almost 9 years later.
Well, that's something because you don't. When I was there, that was my first time to Arizona. First when I was there for the state pageant, and I don't know what I expected, honestly, but I just hadn't heard much about Arizona. It's like it's one of those states that I feel like most people have been to, but nobody really talked about. But when I was there, I was so excited because it just looked like um, the city was expanding. You know, there was a lot of construction. There were a lot of beautiful structures, a lot of homes, and so I was just impressed. You know, it was kind of like this little hidden gem, you know, of a experience. Like beforehand, even when the opportunity came to me to go, I was like, you know, like people from Arizona do not come for me. I didn't know any better. Okay, I've gone, I've experienced, and now Arizona has a special place in my heart. So I I support your move. I'm glad you did it.
Me too. It's such a great place. I love that. There's so much hiking to do. You can live here your whole life and never go on every hiking trail or see everything that the state has to offer. And you get the desert, you get the mountains, you get the red rocks, you have lakes. It's just so different than what people think. My friends that come out here and visit, they're like, we literally thought it was just the desert, like the Wild West, nothing. And I'm like, no, it's quite big in a city actually, but there is like outdoorsy things and beautiful scenery and sights to see. So it shocks people.
Yeah, most definitely, and I'm one of them. So, um, so circling back to the state pageant, you know, you were there, you came, you conquered, you obviously walked away from the crown with the crown. Excuse me. Um, what was like one of the like standout moments at the pageant for you?
You know, I would say probably the interview portion. I didn't realize what it took to compete in a pageant and the prep and the work that goes into it. When I first joined, I had 3 weeks until we were supposed to have our pageant. So I was joining super late in the game. Thankfully, the pageant got pushed from November to January. I hired a coach, and every week it was to the T, walking practice, gym, interview prep, and I didn't realize what it really took. And then sitting down in front of the judges and just the way that they asked us questions about who we really were, and they wanted to know more than just like why we were at a pageant or what our platform was. They wanted to make sure that when we were represent our state that we're fully in it. And that was kind of the turning point for me because I was like, okay, this is why people prep so much. This is why like these titles hold such a special place to our state, to everyone as a person. And that was my turning point. And I walked out of my interview and I was like, oh my God, I just did that. Like, I have no idea what's going on. Like, it was my first initial deep dive and it felt like I jumped off the boat and started swimming.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm sure like having like all that pressure and then that relief after you finish interview come through, right? And then to perform, and what was it like hearing your name called?
It was very shocking, but so amazing. I just remember that night, like thinking about it and it sinking in. And I called my coach, I called my mom, and I was like, I won. I was like, I never thought I could win the pageant. Going into it, I was like, I'm a first timer. There's no way. I've never done a pageant. I'm brand new. So it was a shock. I felt like I probably was in shock for 3 days afterwards. It was just like, I really won. Like, that was my name. It's real. Someone pinged me,
Oh
but
my
it's been
goodness.
amazing.
I think something similar. You know, I've been doing pageants for a long time. I since 2012. So, you know, got a little time under my belt, but you know, anytime I've ever heard my name called, you know, you're up there with so many quality women. So it's just like you think about the category, whether it's, you know, miscongeniality or photogenic or whatever the case may be, and everybody else pops into your head. Right? You're like, oh yeah, I saw her picture. It was great. Or, oh yeah, she was so nice. Like it could be her. And then they call your name and you're like, and people
What?
make fun of like the pageant reaction, but most often it's so genuine because we know the women we're on stage with, and we know they're all capable, and it's very possible that they could, you know, have taken the prize or the title. So I relate, girl.
Oh, yeah.
Definitely.
My hair and makeup guy, when we were getting ready, he was like, who would you want to win out of everyone? He's like, of course you want yourself to win, but who would you want to win? And I was like, there's a few of the girls that I would love to see them win. I was like, they're just very pretty. They're very intelligent. Like, they're genuinely nice people. one of the girls and I actually, we smiled at each other every time we came on and off stage, and we are like, you got this. Like, we were both just as nervous. So we became pageant partners, and we'd like
Oh,
give thumbs up, or that's what we called each other, as our pageant partner. And we were like, you got this, like, smile, you did so great. And it just made it a better process. So it's fun, but I definitely could have seen other girls taking home the title because everyone was qualified. So many of them deserve a title too.
I love that. I love that so much. Now, what do you feel you had to change the most when you were transitioning from prepping for state to prepping for nationals?
I really had to work on my walking. So I am not a girl who wears heels. I am a sneaker girl.
Yeah.
I also have incredible stage fright. I freeze in big lights. So I really had to practice my walk and acting as if there were people in front of me. I would go to the gym, put my heels on in my workout clothes, and walk through the equipment just to get the feel of like what it feels like to have random eyes on me. And my coach would make me put my computer down and record myself and send to her. And it was really just getting over that stage fright because I knew the national stage was going to be much bigger than our state stage. I knew that there were going to be more people. It would be a different experience. So that's something that I had to really transition and work on because I knew I had to do it. Like, it's something you just have to do.
Yeah, it's like that one thing you're like, you prep at state and you're like, okay, it would be cool if I won the title. It'd be all right. And then you win, and now you're like, holy crap, I have to live up to this. Like, I have to really give this thing my all because yes, I'm representing myself, but now I have Arizona across my chest, right?
Yeah, it was like almost like a come to Jesus moment where it's like, there's no way out. There's no backing out. Like, you're in this, like, you won, and now it's time to go to the next step. And I was just like, okay, I can do this. Like, let's start working even more. And every day I practiced my walk. I was sending my coach videos every day, 2 and 3 times. I would practice in different, so I wore 2 different heels. I would practice multiple times and send her like 3 and 4 videos at a time and have her critique each and every one of them. Because I was like, I don't want to let my state down or anyone that I've met because I am representing the state. And I would hate to get up there and not do something correctly or like mess up and then have people look at you and be like, well, you represent Arizona. Why would you do that? Because there are some people who take it very seriously.
Yeah, I mean, the bigger pageant that you compete at, the more scrutinized it is, and this was a pretty big national production that was put on. I thought that the stage was beautiful, and we were all so different, and I can only really speak for the men's division because I didn't really spend a lot of time with the other divisions, but we were all so different and so unique, and just recalling that your national costume was iconic. Oh my
Thank
gosh.
you.
When I saw that cactus turn the corner, I was floored. I could have did a death drop, but I think I was in something restricting that would not allow. Like, Roxanne, that costume was so brilliant. Did you know that's what you wanted to represent on stage?
So when I got the handbook for nationals and saw that there was a costume portion in my head, so let me just set this. Halloween is my favorite holiday. I love costumes and I love to dress up. You will not, even if I'm sitting at home, you will not catch me not in a costume on Halloween just because I can dress up. So it's my favorite thing to do is be in a costume, and it's just fun. And when I saw that there was a costume portion, I told my coach, I was like, I may not be able to win a national crown, but I can win a costume contest. And I was like, but let's think of like what patriotic could be. And I was like, I'm going to be a glam lady of liberty. And my coach goes, let's think about that. There's going to be like 10 glam lady of liberties. How would you set yourself different? And I was like, okay, what if I'm a cactus? I can be a cactus. That screams Arizona. When people think about Arizona, mostly they think of cacti. So I went to a shake shop and I was asking people, I was like, when you think of Arizona, what do you think of? And so many people said a cacti and a cactus and things like that. And I'm like, I'm going to be a cactus. That's it. I'm going to be a saguaro cactus, and no one's going to tell me differently. So thankfully, I found an amazing designer. He's actually in Vegas. He does costumes for drag shows with RuPaul. He does Spice Girl costumes, like all sorts of beautiful costumes that go around Vegas. He's the designer for a lot of them, and he was fantastic. When I got on the phone with him, I was like, I want to be a cactus. And he was like, what type of cactus are we talking about? And I was like, just like a really cute cactus. He's like, can we make it a little sexy, not like just a cactus head to toe? And I was like, oh yeah, go for it. Full creative design. I want a cactus and I want the state flag with a reveal. And he was like, I got you. Give me 24 hours. And within 24 hours, he sent me a design and was like, how does this look? And I was like, it's everything that I thought of. It was perfect.
Oh my
So
God.
it was really cool to see how it turned out. I ended up flying to Vegas once for a fitting. So I sent him my measurements. He started the costume and he contracted out the cactus backpack. And then he had them do the wiring for it. And then when he got the wiring backpack, he did all of the fabric. There were 40,000 sequins on it, bejewels. He hand did everything for it. I flew up there and did a first and a final fitting based on the measurements that I sent him. And we made a few minor adjustments here and there to it. And then I left and I didn't see the costume again until I got to nationals.
Oh my God.
So I was praying that it fit properly, everything. And he was just so amazing. Like, I will use him 100 times over again for anything I need. I was amazed at what he did.
Yeah, you'll have to send me his info because I need a costume myself.
I will.
What was the time frame on that? From the call to you picking it up? How long did that take?
He had it turned around to me, and I want to say 6 weeks, because when I took the state crown, we had exactly 8 weeks until nationals.
Mm-hmm.
And I want to say by the time I found out about him and got on a call with him, he had it done within 6 weeks.
All that handwork in 6 weeks? Shout out to him. Do you know his on Instagram? Shout him out.
I do. It's Velarde Designs. I'll have to send you his page. So amazing. His name is Justin Velarde. Just the best human you will ever meet in your life, and he's a phenomenal designer. I can't wait to see his own little shop.
Yeah, because by the sound of it, he definitely needs one. I was a firsthand witness of this costume, y'all. And for those of you who are not watching the broadcast, this costume was magnificent. It was perfect. It was perfect, perfect, perfect. Certainly national level costume. And I think if you didn't win best costume, you should have, because it was the cutest one. Like, trying to think of one that was cuter, and I actually cannot.
I was very happy about it. I was told afterwards that no one's ever seen a cactus before on a stage like that. And I was like, you know what? That's fine. I'm going to set the ground for Arizona. We're going to make cactus a thing.
You put it on the map, girl. I've seen a cactus on a flag or on a tail skirt kind of thing, but never a real 3D in life cactus. And it might sound strange for those who are just listening to the audio, but Roxanne is going to give us her socials at the end of this. Do follow her and do go see what we're talking about, because it was just the cutest, perfect costume. It fit her state. I believe it fit your personality very well. It was a little thigh, a little hip, it was just it was a little va boom. It made cactus sexy. And I don't know if you could have ever said that beforehand. But yes, I wanted to make sure I prioritize talking about that costume, girl, because I love that thing. My mom was talking about it for 2 weeks after we got home. Yeah.
Oh my gosh. I actually got to meet your parents in the elevator. I got on the elevator and they were like, oh, you're Arizona. And we had a little chit chat and they're like, good luck. And then I realized they told me that they were here for Ms. Washington. I was like, oh my God, I actually know her. She's one of the queens I know. So
She's
they
like,
were the sweetest people.
oh my gosh. You know what's funny? When I started pageants, and for pageants, I started late. I started after I graduated high school, which is hilarious to me. Because when I did my first one, I thought I'd be a one and done. I was like, okay. You know, like when I was signing up, I was like, it's okay. Like me and my grandmother used to watch pageants together and, you
Aww.
know, talk about the contestants and stuff. And so I just felt like I was doing an honor to her when I did my first one, like an ode to grandma. And then, yeah, it's just so funny the way that life takes you. But my mom, you know, she's been my cheerleader for everything, literally everything: volleyball, student government, cheer, drill team, all of it. And when I said I wanted to do pageants, she was just kind of like, pageants? And I was like, yeah, because at the time, I'm a curvy girl. So I was doing a little bit of plus size modeling and stuff like that. She was like, you want to sprinkle pageants on top of that? Like, are you sure? And I was like, yeah, you know. And since then, she's been there. She goes, she gets excited. I help produce pageants now. And she's a part of my team. So it's really become a big part of our lives. And it's so funny because she moms all the other girls, you know. So she'll be like, hey baby, slow down, like
That's so sweet.
slow down. And it's just so funny. But one thing that me it just makes my eyes cross. She's still like, she's a purple girl, so she loves the color purple. Anything, if you ask her, oh, what do you think about this? It would be nicer in purple. Oh, this purple gown I'm trying on, it can like not fit, like be kind of janky. And she'd be like, oh yeah, the purple one, right? So,
Oh my gosh.
you know, as I was preparing for nationals, I'm trying on these gowns and she keeps sending me back, do they have it in purple? And I'm like, Mom, I am not wearing purple. I am a big girl and will not look like Barney on stage. Okay? Like,
But your gown that you wore on stage was gorgeous. Like it was very beautiful on the stage. Like you made it work.
thank you so much. I had to first out shout out to Jonathan Kane for having a brand that does have a large size range. I appreciate that. Um, but that gown, true story, and I've told it several times here on the podcast. I bought that gown before I had a reason to wear it.
Oh
I
my God.
I think I saw it on Instagram or something like that, and I just went on the hunt for it, and I bought it, and it was just kind of like one of those things. I was like, oh well, something will come up, I'm sure. And then I my boyfriend and I met, and we were talking about pageants, and he was like, I've never been or seen a pageant, and I was like, you know, I have a gown. I'll sign up for this one, and the rest is history. So
Oh my gosh.
yeah, it's so
That's so
funny.
awesome. It
Life.
was stunning on stage. Like when I watched your repost of your walk and everything, I was like, she killed it. Like you
Thank
worked it. Like the
you.
dress looked so beautiful and you just like made it look so like elegant and graceful, flowing.
Thank you. Oh my goodness. And I will say one thing. Still shouting out Jonathan Kane. It's a great dress. But, you know, I just want to let all the designers out there know, if you have size inclusive range, once those dresses start getting bigger, they need structure, y'all. We can't just put them on and zip them up. We can't do that. So I did put a corset into the dress, to add the structure, because the girls were not girling before I put the corset in. So I did need that, you know, but it was so much fun. I love that because I wore it at state as is, and
Oh
I that
wow.
was my takeaway. I was just fidgeting with it too much, and I told my mom then and there, I was like, oh, I'm about to tack a corset into this thing, and we're gonna rock it. And yeah, it was a little bit of an adventure, you know, sizing, getting the right corset to put in because I didn't want to pull the whole dress apart. But yeah,
Well, it
it
looked amazing.
shout out to the misses who helped tie me into that dress. You know who you are, because it was so cute. They went to pull the string and they were like, oh my god, your waist is so small. And then I remember specific Mrs. Tennessee came up, and she like pulled, she was so strong, she pulled me into that corset, and baby, the rest is history. But It was like that scene at the beginning of Titanic where Rose is getting pulled into her corset. All those people are like helping her into that dress.
Oh
I
my gosh.
loved it. And then I feel like I think you're really cute. So I feel like everything you wore was really cute. Was your swimsuit red? Am I remembering that correctly? You're so
Yes.
cute.
I tried to be, every outfit I wore during pageant weekend was a bright color or a random style. So I think I did like a lime green almost, like a lime minty green. I did a hot pink, a bright fluorescent purple. I had a yellow with a huge bow
I
on the
remember
neck.
that was cute.
Um, then my swimsuit was red and my dress was gold. So I went across the rainbow of colors because I was like, it's just who I am. Like, I like colors, so we picked from every color almost.
And I was, I'm very impressed because I feel like a lot of blonde girls shy away from yellow. And like the fact that you went in with a bright fluorescent yellow, I really appreciate that. So thank you, girls. Another, it's kind of weird too because we're totally different ends of the alphabet. So even though, I know you, I felt like we were always like this, like just in
Yeah.
passing at nationals. And that was one of those moments where I was like, oh, I wish I could have talked more with Roxanne while we were there. And then, trying to get the social media posts done, everybody was just running.
Oh, yeah. I took my ring light with me because I wasn't sure how the lighting would be in the hotel room, anything like that. And I like bright lights when I'm trying to look at how I'm looking and getting ready. And I'm so thankful I brought that ring light because I attached my phone and I stood in there when we had our 4 hour break. I did all of my social media posts. I was changing tops, putting on a different one, taking a photo with the item, changing another top, holding another item. I drilled out our post for probably 4 hours. And I was like, man, I wish I would have been able to like spend time with the other girls, but I also wanted to make sure that I had time to eat and time to like move in between hair and makeup and get changed for the other time. So I really wanted to make sure I could have my social media and posts not slack on that because we had some good sponsors. Like there were a lot of great sponsors and I didn't want to leave anyone out, but I do wish I could have had those hours to be able to like mingle and like get to talk to you and talk to the other girls and just like make more friends and meet people other than just us like crossing in the back or talking in the changing rooms backstage. So I wish that, but it was fun drilling out the posts for the social media and getting just to be creative in a hotel room with a ring light.
Oh my gosh, you're a genius for packing it because I surely did not pack mine, and then I felt horrible for it. So I was doing a lot of recording in the bathroom or in the hallway right out in front of my room, and my boyfriend was kind of laughing at me because again, he'd never been to a nationals before, so he was like, what is this? Like, what's going on? And do you have any advice for anyone who finds himself in a similar situation? They're at a national pageant and they have a huge amount of sponsors to thank and post about. It's a requirement. Do you have any advice for anybody in a similar situation?
I do. I would say one thing is if it's a sponsor that you could use something of theirs daily or outside of just the pageant world, go buy the hairspray, go buy something of that product and pre-make posts. And then when you get there, you already have the post, and then it's basically like you got another item for free. So it kind of works out if it's an item you're going to use. I highly suggest ring lights and always overpack outfits so that you're never like in the same thing and it doesn't look like your feed is just I'm here with this, I'm here with this, and you're in the same clothes, just holding it up. Overpack your outfits, be creative, go out in the walkways in the hall room, like the hallways, go like to the downstairs lobby. Don't be scared to be posting these events and having your photos taken and bringing your ring light anywhere you want to go. These sponsors are worth it. And if you can pre-make the content before, you're going to have so much more time. But also if you're there, do it little by little. Don't try to cram all of it together. Wake up and do a couple, go to lunch and do a couple, just take your time with it, but have fun.
Yeah, I think it's really important that um, you don't feel overwhelmed. You know, as a title holder, whether you're regional, state, or a national title holder, you're in charge of your time. So the way that you utilize your time and your resources is just kind of a little bit of a reflection of you as a title holder. So don't freak out, take a couple cleansing breaths, and then just get it done. And that was kind of what had to happen for me. I was starting to panic because I'm a social person, so I really wanted to be able to spend more time with the other contestants and things like that. But I had to put my time and effort into creating these posts, and even sometimes we would be in the ballroom, and like the pins that we got, I had to do a quick boomerang in the ballroom or something like that to get everything signed off. My one main suggestion is, if you're presented with something that is edible or like it's topical, goes on your skin, don't actually use it, y'all. You don't want to have any kind of allergic reaction. Like, if you aren't familiar with the product, you don't have to actually use it. You're a spokesperson. Hold and smile, hold and smile. Talk about what you know about the product, and then let everybody know how excited you are to try it when you get home. Um,
I
but
agree with that.
yes.
I have sensitive skin, and it was either, but I failed on that part. I put some of the product on my skin, and it was either the makeup or the product that caused a reaction for the weekend. Um, I get skin rashes very easily because my skin just rejects everything. So it does not look pretty when I try new makeups, anything like that. I'm usually a no makeup girl because of it. And pageant weekend, it was either the makeup that we were using or one of the products. I ended up having a rash across my cheek that would itch and burn all day. And I would have to just like tap it or like sit here and like act like I'm scratching the air because it was hurting so bad. So I agree with you on that. Wait, just in case you do have very sensitive skin like me, wait until you get home, and then you're not having to be on stage and thinking, oh my God, does someone notice my face? Or walking past someone, and what if you run into someone and you're like, oh my God, please don't look.
Yeah, don't look, don't look, don't look. I'm not sick.
Yeah.
I'm okay. I'm okay. I'm okay. Yeah, I mean, I can't wear fake jewelry. Um, so something that happens with me is like, anytime I'm wearing fake jewelry, which happens at pageant weekend, I do wear a lot of fake earrings. They're big, they're gaudy, they're already heavy, but like sometimes I'll get a little rash around where my ears are pierced. And so anytime we have a sponsor that donates earrings, I always try to do like a quick in and out, like just not wear it for long. And I also have sensitive skin. So I learned the hard way at a pageant. I think I tried to do like one of these, like, oh, look at my brand new body shimmer. And it's not to knock the vendor or anything like that. Some of us just have sensitive skin and have products that just don't agree with us. And I know someone that started taking the hair vitamin. They got like a hair vitamin at a pageant, and they started taking it at the pageant and ended up really, really sick that night. And
Oh
it was
no.
like, just like any kind of like walking pattern or like fancy trick or turn or anything like that, you don't want to do anything that you have not rehearsed on stage.
I
Okay?
I agree.
If you are a pivot turn kind of girl, you do not want to get to nationals and decide that is the moment to try your Dior double backflip, back axle turn. Like, that's not it. Just because the girl 2 states in front of you did it does not mean it's for you. What you should do is what you've rehearsed, what you practice, what your body is familiar with doing.
If you're
Because
confident in.
yes, what you are prepared. You're as prepared as you need to be for the outcome that's going to be. Okay, so just remember that getting to the pageant is not the time to change your routine.
I agree. And the judges can tell when you're confident or when you're trying something new. My coach taught me that very well. She's like, once you practice this and this is yours, she's like, you need to be confident in it, because if you get up there and you make a mistake and you're like and you show on your face that like you're not confident in your walk or your turn, she was like, that's the judges are going to notice that. They're going to see that. Or if you're too much trying to like stand up straight, like she was like, slouch if you want, like slouch if you have to, like don't overdo it to where you just look uncomfortable and like you're not confident in what you're doing. She's like, own who you are and like be confident in that, and that's what's going to take you far.
Yeah, I once, when I first started, being a curvy girl, I was kind of like, okay, what's going to make my body look best? What's the one pose that's going to make my body look best? And it took someone just being like, girl, it doesn't exist. Because depending on where your judges are sitting, they're all going to see you from a different angle. Okay, so like either you're comfortable with your body or you're not. And that kind of shifted the entirety of what I thought I was doing, because I always thought that I was advocating for body positivity. Um, and that moment, I realized that yes, I was kind of comfortable in my skin, but I wasn't quite there yet. So it was kind of a jumping point for me to get comfortable with my body and my shape and just be fine with anybody seeing it from any angle. So pageantry, man.
It's very interesting. It's been fun to get to know like the pageant industry and just see what girls go through, because every girl has a different experience. And one thing I like about pageantry and the direction it's going is it is becoming more welcoming to everyone. It's becoming more inclusive, and I love that, because I'm the first to tell someone, rock your skin. Like, it doesn't matter what you look like. You want to wear a tube top? Let's wear a tube top. We're going to go to the mall.
I agree. I agree wholeheartedly. I feel that I came into pageantry when it was still very like USA, Miss USA girls look like this, and Miss America girls look like this, and to see the shifts that we've had, plus size women come in and have national titles. We've seen more women of color take national and international titles. We've seen short women, like even being short was something that could potentially keep you from pursuing your goal or from capturing it. So I do like what we're seeing, but I'm happy that so many people are finding areas to grow. And I'll ask you two things. So, what was your final placement at nationals? I'm so sad we're not getting scores this year, but it's okay.
Me
What was your
too.
what was your final placement at nationals, and what are you doing next?
So I placed top 12 at my first national pageant. I was very happy for that and very shocked. I also won the most patriotic with my cactus costume.
As you should
So
have.
that was the highlight, leaving with the top 12 as a first time national competitor, and then walking away with my cactus costume, which I'm forever going to, it's going to have a box built in. It's going to go in my office in my house. It's going to be on the wall.
As it should.
It's a statement piece. So that was my placement. And moving forward in my pageant journey, I am really promoting my platform. I've been volunteering with a lot of different community nonprofits that not many people know about. So it's not big name nonprofits that everyone can just Google and see, or there's a commercial for them. I've found ones that are kind of close to me and things that I love to do and I'm passionate about. And I'm partnering with them and planning fun events. And I'm actually in the process of partnering with Pops and Junior Youth Golf right now. They're a golf program in the Valley that provides free golf clubs and free lessons to kids aged 3 to 18. And I'm a big golfer. I've golfed my whole life. So it's my favorite sport. And I learned about this program because Live Golf allowed me to play as Ms Arizona in their Amateur Pro-Am tournament. And my caddy is a participant and is a director in that program. And he was telling me about it. And I was like, oh, you've got to like let me know when you have an event. I want to be a part of that. That's so cool. And we started just talking about different things. And we've held a sippy cup and paint night. We're planning a golf tournament, like a carnival style golf tournament, to be able to raise funds to build a kids only course in the back of the range so that they have their own private range area, their own private facility for events. And we're in the process of planning that out, which will be super fun. And then just getting to spend time with the kids. I'm going to get to mentor one of the little girls for her first pageant. And her mom's now going to be in a pageant for a Mrs. division. So I'm getting to help them. And my plan is just to be as active as I can in the community and educate people on my platform and the importance of it, but also help out and help advocate and educate people on other areas of the community that need help too.
Oh, that is so powerful. I love how, you've been able to kind of turn something that means so much to you and that you enjoy into a platform to stand on, and everyone should take notes because your platform should make you light up the way that you light up talking about golf. And I also want to say I did not do a good job of making sure that everyone knew about your Dalmatian, who also got to go to nationals with us. Will you please tell us a little bit more about he's a service animal in training, correct?
He is. So Mash just turned a year old. I got him when he was 7 weeks old, and we started a training program for service work when he was 14 weeks. So he's actually going to get to be my personal service animal. So I will not have to give him away at the end of our training, but he's helping me with my anxiety, depression, and migraines. A little backstory: I suffer with severe anxiety and social anxiety and depression. I take medication 4 times a day, and I also get very, very bad migraines. When I don't take my medication, I go into anxiety attacks where usually I have to go to the hospital because I just can't get them to calm down. And I feel like my heart's going to explode. Nash is being trained to sense when I'm feeling that way, nudge me to pull me out of that situation before I go into a full blown attack. He's already deep pressure therapy trained, which is where he can get me and climb in my lap and apply pressure to my chest to help slow and calm my heart rate. We are in the process of training him to retrieve my medication and water so that I can reduce my medication level with him being there to assist me. But if I do go into an attack, he can go retrieve my medication for me. Or if I have a migraine where I can't move, he can go retrieve that medication for me, bring water. And then when we're in public, I have different nicks. So I will pick at my hair when I'm anxious, or I'll flick my nails or spin my rings. And he's being trained to look for those and sense that and nudge and grab my hand to notify me that we need to leave that area in that situation so that I can calm down and not have a panic attack, an anxiety attack.
That is actually so insightful. I don't know much about service animals. The way that I encounter them in my day to day life is I am a residential property manager, so I manage apartments in the city. And, a lot of people are kind of milking the system and claiming service animals in order to not, pay pet rent or pet deposit because, they're not pets. They're
Medical
service.
device.
They're working animals, right? And so I never have had the opportunity, and it's illegal to ask someone why they need a service animal, which I would never do. It's a big intrusion, but the line is so uncertain, so I'd never feel comfortable enough to ask what jobs the animal does because I don't want them to feel like I'm prying into asking what they need the animal for. Um,
Well, legally, it's a federal, like, whole legal thing where you're allowed to ask them what task is the animal trained for.
okay.
Um, so to be a service animal, they have to be task trained. To be an emotional support animal, which is different than a service animal, they don't have to be task trained. You just need a doctor to say this dog provides emotional support, and that is making you feel good, making you feel better. Whereas if you compare that to a service dog, they don't know a specific task that would help you. So an ESA, emotional support animal, isn't considered a medical device like a service animal is because they don't have that task training to assist with the disability.
So for me, like my dog Apollo, he's my ESA. So I went through that process and got him certified in that way. And it was just a time in my life where it was just a lot of pressure, and then I felt very much so alone. And I went and I talked to my doctor, and she was able to kind of help me find the correct route to get I just gotten Apollo. He was a puppy.
Oh,
So we went through that route. And here in Seattle, originally ESAs weren't, there weren't a lot of rhetoric on ESAs. The vocabulary, the words were service animal. And it was just kind of like you get the list of what a service animal is supposed to do. And I'm like, well, no, Apollo doesn't do these things for me. He doesn't have a task. I don't have any ticks or anything like that. But, he is my ESA. And just trying to like go through even explaining that was a task at times. And either folks, having either is nothing to shy away from, and nothing to feel bad about. In one way or another, you're seeking help and you're doing what's best for you, and you shouldn't have any shame for doing that or for needing that type of support. I think it's incredible that you, Roxanne, have made this a platform and are working hard to make sure that people understand the process and what it means to have a service animal.
yeah. But I think ESAs and service animals, they both have a big place. I actually got to speak to the Arizona Senate on it to really define ESA versus service animal and how they're both beneficial, and what that line is to distinguish them within the community. Because I'm very big on, if it's your ESA and it makes you feel good and it helps you, that's great. Like, as long as it's public access trained, I think it's totally appropriate for you to bring it anywhere and everywhere with you. I don't see why you can't. Whereas a service animal would be the medical device that's task trained. I think that they both serve a very good purpose and they both help you in different ways. With that, my platform revolves around unseen mental disabilities. So, like OCD, PTSD, anxiety, depression, diabetes, things like that. Because when I originally started our training program, I thought that to have a service animal, you had to have a physical disability. I didn't realize that service animal, I always thought, oh, an ESA is what I would need for my anxiety, not a service animal. I didn't realize that there was a difference between the two. And I also didn't realize that service animals could help with any of those. I thought you had to be blind, or I know some of them do help with diabetic disorders, different things like that. I thought that you had to actually have a noticeable, recognizable disability. And my trainers educated me on that. And I was like, that's really, really cool. Like, I didn't know that. And I didn't realize that there is a difference between the two, but they both kind of serve the same purpose, which was nice. And my platform revolves around just educating people that it's okay to have either or. And the route I chose is service animal related, but my dog Ellie, she's a lab Dalmatian mix. She's registered as a service animal. I got her 7 years ago, and she's registered as an emotional support animal, whereas Nash is a service animal. So there is a difference, and I've seen the difference in the trainings that we've done with them. And I really just want everyone to know that it's okay to have either or. And if you do want to take your ESA or your rescue or your regular dog and train them to do service work, I want to be able to provide affordable resources for that, or ways that you would know how to approach a service animal if you see one in public. What are the proper etiquettes to approach the owner, things like that. Whereas a lot of people don't realize that in the public, and they don't know what is appropriate, what's not appropriate to say, why you can't pet the dog, why the owner would tell you no. There's just so many different things that I never would have thought of until learning from my trainers, that I think is very important for the public to know too. And I want everyone to know that it's okay to have your animal with you. If it serves a purpose for you and it helps you, that's okay. It doesn't matter what anyone thinks of you, how they look at you. If it's helping you, that's all that matters. And it's also 100% okay to talk about it. Don't be ashamed to hide your feelings or hide what's going on in your life. And don't disregard the help and having your animal with you because you're embarrassed or you're scared of the judgment. Do what's best for you. And I want to set that example and just really help people understand that, and just kind of promote a more open environment with my platform?
I think as more people are having those open discussions about mental health and what that looks like, I think it just gives us all an opportunity to kind of just open ourselves up. So it's been a growing and kind of bubbling conversation to have. And now, there are so many women who are really trying to push and champion for, open conversations about mental health, open conversations about um, medication, because for a long time you say you were taking medication for anything, and it's like, oh, you're crazy, and let's just
Yeah.
like, let's really just kind of delve deep into what it is to take your own mental health seriously and to search for what's going to work for you, because where medication works for some, it won't work for others. Where having even an ESA or a service animal works for some, it may not work for others. So it's all about just having these conversations and just finding what's best for you as you're in your own journey to ensure your mental health. And I think it's amazing. I think that what you're doing, training. So when you say you have a training program, you don't just train your pets or your service animal. You don't just train your animals for task or anything like that. Like, if you had the opportunity to train someone else's service animal, you would do that? Like, it's a business for you, or um
So I use trainers in Sedona, Arizona, and they help so much with my training and teaching me the ways to train. And I want to be able to take that information and use that in the public, make videos to post of this is how you train your dog to retrieve your medication. This is how you train your dog to notice your ticks. This is how you train your dog to apply the deep pressure therapy. Because I'll be brutally honest, it is very expensive to have a service animal and
mhm.
to go through the program. And if I can provide just a little bit of ways and like few ways online that someone could help and train their dog to do a task to where they don't have to pay thousands and thousands of dollars, that's what I want to do. So I'm learning from my trainers, and not to take business away from them or anything by sharing that information, but I'm learning from them and then applying it to my platform and with Nash out in the public to be like, you know what, if you wanted help, we'll go to the dog park and I'll show you how I train Nash with the trainers or what we're doing. And if it's something where they actually would need the trainer to really work on or enforce, depending on the dog, the mannerisms of the dog, things like that, then I would refer them to my trainer. But having a service animal, you are allowed to self train your service animal. You do not have to go through a program. And if I can maybe shed some light on that and provide a resource to where someone doesn't look at that and say, you know what, I could never afford a service animal. That's just, I would never be able to go that route. I would like to be able to provide that where they could say, you know what, I can have a service animal. That would be beneficial to me and my disability. And I can do it. I can train for free. Or there is someone who is willing to help and teach me by how they've trained their dog.
Well, I think, it would just be another tool, another asset, right? If somebody is struggling financially and they need a service animal, if they do have resources available to them to get the ball rolling, maybe they can't do all of the training, but you're able to provide the building blocks for them to get a good start. I don't see anything wrong with that. I think that's amazing, and I think that's a really great idea and opportunity to really help people just kind of find their way. And so kudos to you. Great platform. Before we sign off, please do share your social media handles, which I'll post in any description for wherever this video and these vocals, I'll call them, end up. And then also, please let us know anything that, if there's anything we haven't touched on, just go ahead and lay your soul bare, give your shout outs, do all the things.
Thanks. So my socials are Instagram is Roxander11, which is Rox and Ander, part of my first name and my last name together, and then 11, which is my favorite number. My pageant page is USOA Ms Arizona, so that's MS Arizona. And then my service animal has a page that we're picking up more, posting more on, and that's where I'll be doing a lot of the training posts with him. And he's nash.the.dalmatian. And I would love for anyone to reach out to me and ask me questions, or you can message me, you can call me, it doesn't matter. I would love to be able to help anyone that does have questions or is struggling or wants to train their own dog. I'm an open book and my door is always open for that. So I would love to hear from people and help them.
Beautiful. Thank you so much. Okay, circling back, you said your favorite number is 11. Are you like a numerology girly, or you just like the ones next to each other? Like 11, why? Tell us.
It's the year I graduated high school.
Dang! So, class of 2011, let's do it.
Yeah. So that's my favorite number because it's when I finished high school. So
glad that's done.
Glad that was done. My very small country town, or country city town, tiny little high school. So I got to go out and explore more of the real world after that.
Well, yeah, the class of 2011 just did it better, if you ask me. But oh my goodness, yeah, I like 11. I have an alarm set at 11:11. So that I can make sure I make my wish every day.
And I do the same.
Yeah. Oh, see, like this gal I worked with, her name is Carlene. She's actually an influencer on Instagram. Shout out to Queen Carlene. Hey, girl. So she was the first person that I ever saw do that. And she explained to me why. And I was like, oh my gosh, that makes sense. I'm going to take this. I'm going to take this and make it my own. So yeah, every day, even on the weekend, even on vacation, my alarm goes
I'll
off
wait.
at 11.
If I'm looking at my phone and I see it's like 11:10, I'll sit there and like stare at my phone and wait until it turns 11 just so I can make my wish.
Well, like I go to bed early kind of girly. Like, I'm in bed 9:30, 10 o'clock. But should I be up late and should it be 11:10, I will hold my phone in my face until 11:11 and then just KO, just knock out after that.
Same.
Oh my gosh.
Oh my gosh.
I love you. So, or how do the kids do it? They do this now.
Yeah, they're little.
Look, I'm cool. I'm young.
We're like what is it? The Gen Zs or the whatever's like below us.
Yeah.
Millennials.
Yeah, below us millennials. Thank you.
Millennials are better.
I don't want to start any beef, but we brought a lot to the table. I'm just going to leave that there. But thank you so much for your time today, darling. I really appreciate you. I'm so excited to get this posted. And again, everyone, do follow Miss Roxanne on social media and everything that she's doing, because she has some amazing, amazing, amazing things going on. And if you'd like to get involved or anything like that, like she said, do not hesitate to reach out to her, because she is here to help in any way that she can. So Roxanne, thank you. Thank you for sharing space here on the BGE Cloud.
Thank you for having me. Oh my gosh, it was a lot of fun talking with you and getting to see you again. So definitely have to stay in touch. And I want to do a Peloton class with you so bad. I see your posts every day and I'm like, I need to do a Peloton class with her.
Okay, I'm going to end this broadcast and you and I are going to chat Peloton, all right? Everybody else, bye. Me and Roxanne have things to talk about.
Bye.